Hey, it's more shoe talk time. I just know how everyone loves this anyway. Uh, so these shoes have worn out, and you guys know how I like talking about kicks, and I love when shoes are quality built. These are not quality built shoes. These particular pairs of Nike. Some of their shoes are, but most of them aren't. This black looks very faded compared to the other shoe, doesn't it? It's funny because when I'm looking at it, it's as black, coal black as that shoe, but you guys are seeing it almost like a deep purple. Yeah, the lens of this camera needs some assistance. Anyway, so these shoes, it's time more than more than long since. Look at that. I'm awful. But I want the shoes to be quality. These are not quality. These I bought not as a performance shoe, but just like walking around town shoe. But look at the toe. Look at that. You don't want shoes that scrunch up like that. It's bad for your feet. It's kind of like people that wear Crocs and stuff. Crocs are really bad for your feet because when they get sweaty inside or whatever, if you don't wear socks with them, most people don't because they look fucking stupid with socks. This had a good a tendon channel at first, but then it just sort of flattened out. I had to go to Fit to Run and get some insoles made. Pardon me, these are well used because I have a high arch, and the sole they had in these shoes wasn't good enough. So it's time for a new pair of these as well. Um, yeah, but Fit to Run, well, you can get like customized insoles. So those are going out. All that's going out. These, however, now this is a difference between a good shoe and a bad shoe. Well made shoe and a badly made. This is a well made shoe. And I am sad to report that Head have lost their fucking minds and decided to stop this model for a new one. I want to point out to everybody that these shoes, unlike these shoes are 5 years old. Now, other than the dirt in the treads are barely worn. You still see the lettering, even though the paint's worn. The material is not torn or cut. Nothing in the sole is sticking out or pulled apart. Never in my, I mean, these shoes, this heel bar right here, the support it gives your heel, and the way it's got the good old Achilles tendon lock in there. Plus, it has, it's a good pair of shoes when that extra padding is on the inside, right back here. You want that inside padding in here, and you want that tendon to go lock down right into that channel. And these were the sock type frame too, instead of having the separate tongue like most shoes have. This was the one piece sock type, which is fantastic. It came with 3 different sets of laces. The seafoam green. Now I'm not terribly, the appearance of the shoe. The function was far more important to me than the form. Okay. And one of the things about the shoe that was great, still is great about it, and you idiots need to bring the shoe back. It's a great shoe. This should be like your flagship shoe. You never get rid of it. Change the colors, but for fuck's sake, and make it whiter for women, because guess what? These are a men's model. Yep. I had to have a pair of shoes at that time. I couldn't wait. And I loved the fact that it was a little bit wider in the toe box because I've got like jaybird feet. I've got these kind of wide at the top and narrows back at the heel. And this profile on the side being as close as it is was fantastic because unfortunately a lot of court shoes, a lot of running shoes have this big wide outer edge right here. It's just material, and it's for lateral motion. If you catch that edge, bunk, That's the direction your foot's going to go in. So if you're going to move laterally, right, but you don't pick it up enough, you're moving too fast, or you just, for whatever reason, catch the ground with that edge, your foot's turning over. So I like the fact that this had an extremely low profile on the outside, because that never happened to me. And I needed to know I could trust the shoe for lateral movement and not wind up blowing out my ankle, and damn if they didn't work perfectly. They're just amazing shoes. It was told I might have paid like 5 years ago. I think I paid probably 140 once all the taxes and everything were done. And they're still in like really good shape. You see a little bit of fray in there, a little bit of wear right there on that little bit of material, but otherwise, you're not going to find anything wrong. The super fabric is fantastic. I mean, nothing's going to stick to it. It repels water and moisture. The shoes breathe. Even when your feet are extremely hot, which mine do tend to get. The stabilizing bar at the bottom of the sole is fantastic. The whole frame of the shoe is great. It's just so, you just feel so solid in these shoes. It just blows me away that they would, I am not a shopper, okay? I'm not like a shoe bitch. I'm not one of these shoe junkies. I just pretend to be one on YouTube. But so for me to go on and to go on and on and on about how good a shoe is a big deal. Head, I'm telling you. Bring this shoe back. Just change the colors, please, and make, the women's model should be just like this one. And then there you go. So that's a men's shoe, and that's a men's 8. I don't wear an 8 in women's shoes. So then I got these now to replace these shoes, which I got as, run around town and run errands and run into the grocery store and walk into this and walk out of the car and walk into the car and walk out of the car and walk into the car and out of the car, into the car, and you're doing all that foot walking around, but it's for casual stuff. So I didn't really, I was determined. I was like, I'm only going to use these, and that's all I have used them for. I don't walk around town in these, so that might explain part of it. But the time I do spend in these shoes is 2 to 4 hours straight without a break, going pretty hard. And, now the first couple years, I'll say, because maybe they caught a break because our floors were padded. But now they're hard as that. For the last couple of years they have been. So, anyway, if you can get a hold of these shoes, man or woman, and you do any kind of activity on a court of any kind, or you do anything where you got to do some lateral foot movement, they're not light. I don't like Skechers very much, personally. I'm not a Skechers person. Skechers people are Crocs people, and Crocs, again, are bad for your feet. So, for the casual walkabout to be replaced, finally, these did not hold up well. I'm surprised they're even still together, frankly. I got these. These are just a pair of Asics gels, regular old walking around town type thing, but put together a little bit better. So we've got a new sole. I wore these out of the store. But, anyway, so that's the replacement for this shoe. And even this one has a better profile on the side than this one does. But this one is, it's just, there's more to it. It's a lot better. It's a lot better shoe. This one for the walking around than this one is. No offense to Nike, but I mean, I really wouldn't. You would have to hate your own back to walk more than a mile in these shoes, and I'm not kidding. You would really hate your own back. It's kind of giving you a shot of the heel wear. And these are just some Asics gels. And I only bought them really because they're blue and they were on sale. I like it when things are on sale. I'd rather buy something on sale than full price if I can. And this one just happens to, these are a little bit better for doing the walking around town stuff. I'm just kind of tearing around in. So, got those. And then to replace the heads, which replace, I don't know how much they'll actually replace the head shoes. We will find out. I will have to give you a report after using them for a long time. And I'm a little scared to even use them. So we got this, here's that shoe, right? Here's the new shoe. Besides the color, notice the difference? Well, you'll notice that this is pretty narrow, this toe box, compared to this. And that's what they do to women's shoes sometimes. They narrow that toe box too much. So anyway, so I still kind of, they didn't have anything like these shoes, except these. There was another pair of, they might have been lacrosse. And I saw like the new model of head that they had after there's this Sprinter shoe. Oh my God. You guys got to go back to this shoe. The new model is uglier and less solid around the entire frame compared to this old one. You really have got to bring this shoe back. You really have got to do that. So this is another Asics shoe, but this is a performance shoe. And what does it say about itself? No no marking. Is that what that is? I don't know. Flight foam. This is the heel. So what I tend to do sometimes with my feet is some people tilt in with their feet. I tend to go the outside. I forget what it's called. Is it pronation or supination? Something like that. I don't know what it is. But I tend to go to the outside edge when I tilt. Right? So rather than inside. So I looked at the heel of these and I went, what the flying fuck? Because it just looks wrong, doesn't it? It's looking at it going, okay. But it has a lot of solidity as a result of this in the heel area. And that was partly important, as was that good old Achilles tendon channel. Let me pull this crap out. I always got to stick this paper up the shoe's butt for. Okay, Phoenix, that was very juvenile remark. Don't you make that remark again. So here we are. We've got that back to the, it's like a sock. Let you put in your foot. And this, the reason I got these, the reason I chose these out of all, and I fucking hate shoe shopping, guys. I fucking hate buying shit. Anyway, the reason that I picked these was because it was the only model of shoe in a shop that only sells specialty shoes. It was the only model of shoe that had anything. The next one was the lacrosse shoes. They kind of came close, but as far as like this heel and ankle area being real stable. And there's a little bend in the toe box, but not much. You have to kind of push pretty hard, and where it does, you would bend it, you would expect it to, which is behind the ball of your foot, really, or at the very top of the toes. But it's pretty. That's where we get our bend. Let's see. right about there. You see it? That's where the bend is. With these, I didn't really have, I have more bend, but I never felt it. See that? But these again, these are 5 years old. So these are fresher and stiffer. And you do want that. You want your toe box to be stiffer if you're doing anything that has lateral motion. And they were also the only shoes that had kind of a much smaller profile on the outside edge here. And that does have the extra padding that goes, it drops all the way down, by the way. This padding isn't just like around the collar, it goes all the way down. So if you look at, woo woo, and then okay, shut up. All right, so here's your tendon, this big thing right here, back here. Unless yours is missing for some odd reason, in which case, my apologies. So you got this, right? And so the padding is going to go, it goes, it's not just up here at the collar underneath the bone, right and right there. It's going to go all the way down to the base of the heel. So this whole area right here is locked in the shoe, and then this area where it's around the joint. And I like that. I just like feeling like, okay, I could, if my foot drags, it's not going to be the end of my ankle. You know, I won't be breaking it. And so you can kind of see it's very well made, very nicely put together. Additional piping around the seam. I'm not trying to think of things to say, but I just, sometimes I look at things more closely when I get them home than I do when I'm in this store sometimes. Like I look for certain things, and if they're there, then I go, okay, and I grab it. So this is not the super fabric material, but it is very similar. Has that kind of plastic sort of feel. Vinyl, plastic, leather. And yet at the same time, very similar to the head, which you can see is porous here. It's breathable. Very, very similar. On that extra, do you use the extra eyelet, you guys? Do you ever use this? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I think it depends sometimes where the first one, eyelet falls on the foot. But yeah, I don't really like, well, the color's okay, but I don't like these as much as I like the heads. Like I fell in love with the heads immediately once I had them on my feet. These are also, they feel pretty good. Yeah, but the stitching, everything in it, the materials, very nice. It also, you can't see it because with this one you can see the stabilizer bar. With these you can't really see it, but it's in there. They just molded it. They mold it differently. Or they use a different system altogether. I can't tell. They're so new now. But it's all just reinforcement, basically, for the arch of your foot. And we shall see how these perform. We shall see. I'm nervous. I'm not going to kid you. This part of the shoe I don't care for. This is just a place for shit to get trapped. Okay? But if it's going to give me the stability in my foot that I am used to and need, then I'll put up with it. But I think that Head handled it much better and designed. There's an old saying, keep it simple, stupid. And form should follow function and not the other way around. So we'll see. But it's just the more pieces that you have, the more pieces can fall off. You know, if this is a piece and that's a piece and that's a piece and that's a piece and that's a piece, and they've all got seams and they're all trapping dirt and they're all doing that kind of stuff. So, and I'll be using these exactly as I've used these. Exactly. I won't be wearing them to run around in. I won't be wearing them for any other sports, any other activities, any other environments. They won't be in sand. They won't be on tar. They won't be on, well, wait, strike that. They will be on sand and they will be on tar at some points, but for not terribly long periods of time. For long periods of time, I tend to go with something more like this for longer periods. You see. But this is specific to running, and that's all you want to use them for. You don't want to try to do any lateral motion in them, like court shoes. So, when I put them on, like, it's a much bigger shoe too, and I feel it. I really hate the toe box on them. It's going to sound crazy, but this shoe, this is a men's shoe, and it's an 8, and this is a women's shoe, and I think it's a 9.5 or 10. What is it? Where are we at? What did he say it was? 9.5. So go figure why my foot fits in this shoe and this shoe. But they probably could have gotten rid of a little bit of this. I prefer, like, the toe box. I prefer this toe box, and then this toe box, and then this toe box. I don't like shoes that narrow at the end of them for most anything. But anyway, so there you go. All very different shoes, and my foot. But they're all formed very differently. That's why my, you kind of go, well, why in the fuck can my foot fit in that? And it fits in this. Just like it's almost the exact identical fit from this shoe to this one, with the exception of the toe. So you can see with my foot, it's leave my sock on. I can't take my clothes off in front of the camera. Oh my God. I wouldn't do that. No. I'm not okay, so there's my foot. So isn't that bizarre? Huh? And I know there's somebody who's going to look at this and they're like, I just don't fucking believe you. None of this doesn't make any sense. It does make sense. Well, let's a shoe expert explain it to you. I'm not a shoe expert. I mean, I can put the shoe on again if you absolutely don't believe me. I can sit here and put it on for you. Eventually. Ouch. Ouch. Okay, finally sink in. See? So. And I'm wiggling my toe, and here's my big toe. Can you see it? Look at the material. That's the super fabric. You see? So it's right in here. There's my toe. Oh, we're getting a little bit of wear. Strike what I said. Okay, but 5 years later, hey, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. They're still in pretty good shape. So, Deedly deedly. And then I sat there and watched this crazy lady fucking take her shoes off on YouTube. What am I doing with my life? You're watching somebody because we're all monkeys and we watch shit. And so, this one's going to be tough, actually, because it does lack. Now, it also lacks this. You see this? See that thing there? That Head put on? That Asics couldn't be bothered to put on. You couldn't even be bothered to do that. You're making a performance shoe, but you don't have that? What are you, crazy? All right, get in there. God. Get. I just performed exercise putting my shoes on. That's all the exercise I need today. So let me wiggle my toe. You're going to hardly see it in these because remember, they're stiffer. They're a little bit brand new, but we're right there. You want to hear something funny? The Romans believed, people believe all sorts of crazy shit. The Romans believed if your second toe is longer than your first toe, then that means that you have royal blood. They believed that. Based on what? Who knows? I don't know. That's something they believed. Well, obviously there was somebody in power that had a longer second toe, and they fucking decided that, that must be the right way to be. Because else why would I be in power? It's obviously because I've got a longer second toe. I can grip the branch better. So you get this. Da, 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 da. Maybe I'll wear this. I'll wear both of these shoes. I'll wear the new left one and the new right one. So I'll wear a green shoe and a dark blue shoe. What are you doing here? Sorry. Look at this. I dropped some shit, didn't I? Oh, Lord. All right, so anyway. There's that shoe. That's the performance shoe. And it's got a thing. Okay, so we've had shoe time. The only thing I have to go do now, like I said, is to is to yeah, and like they even had like when the and then with this shoe they even had like they came with like black shoelaces, and then they gave you shoelaces this seafoam green color, and then they gave you the red shoelaces. You guys could do so much with those colors and everything, and it's just like these are the best fucking shoes ever. And you're not not keeping this. Are you crazy? You bring this shoe back right now. I demand it. I demand it, Head. You must bring these back. Listen to me very carefully. Bring the shoe back. Change the color schemes. That's all you have to do. You don't have to change anything else about it. You don't have to change the machines or anything. Bring this model. Sometimes you hit the right thing and you just stay there and ride it for a while. This should be your flagship shoe. And you should sell this model for men and women with the same toe box. Or at least have it as an option. Asics. Do you really want to get less of a score just because you can't be bothered to include this? You can't be bothered to do that everybody does? Anyway, plus it's like if you want to hang the shoe up, you've got a hook and you could just hang the shoe up. You know what I'm saying? But you guys can't be bothered. So we're going to see how this model of shoe does. But I won't be able to tell you for a long time. So take a good look at them, because you're not going to see them again for a minute. And I know that that is going to be a terribly long and lonely time for you. You won't know what to do with your life until you see another video like this on my channel. So I would suggest one thing you could do with your life is you could learn how shoes are made, because that would be an exciting thing for you to do, and then you could make a video about it. How the hell and how they decide, why do they do this and why do they do that, and how come they didn't do that, and you did this and then you went and you got another model of shoe that's inferior and you made that the new model. You don't make the inferior model the new model, you make the best model the best model. All right, I gotta go. See you guys later. Bye.